Hello, Oprah Daily Insiders. We are so excited because you can see with your own eyes who's sitting here today. This is the one and only Brooke Shields. You know, for a lot of people, they use the word icon. That word certainly applies when it comes to her. And the reason why Brooke is here is because she has a new venture. It's called Beginning Is Now. She's excited about it, which makes me excited about it. What is it exactly? An online platform and community for women over what age, Brooke?
40.
40.
It all starts happening over 40.
See, we like that. Whether it's health, whether it's aging, whether it's sexuality, nothing, Brooke says, is off limits in that community. Nothing?
Nothing, because
like
here's
that.
the thing. I've been around for so long, right?
You had a birthday recently.
Yes, 57.
Which birthday was it?
57.
And how old do you feel?
I feel about 42.
Okay, because when you say I've been around for a long time, I'm like, what does that mean, 57?
Well, I've been in the public eye since I was basically 11 months old. By the time I was 11, people were talking about my sexuality.
Yeah.
They were talking about my virginity. They were talking about my mother's alcoholism. Like, everything has been thrown so at me from such a young age that honesty was always the best policy. It wasn't what everybody wanted.
Yeah.
They wanted me to answer the questions that they wanted. I was listening to my 14-year-old self try to answer questions, and I answered the same question over and over again. Finally, I said, I don't know that you really want my answer. I said, but this is my truth.
Yes.
So I learned that my truth was important, as everybody else's.
And that's what Brooke does. She speaks the truth. We're very excited. You see, we have others joining us on the screen.
Yep.
Because we're joined by 3 Oprah Daily Insiders. They are Kwanda. Say hi, Kwanda.
Hello.
Sheba. Hello, Sheba.
Hi.
And Jennifer. And then we have
Gina. Hi, Gina.
From your community.
Thank you.
Yep.
One of our OGs at Beginning Is Now, which is amazing. Cicely.
Where are you, Cicely?
There you are in LA, all the way from LA. Thank you for getting up early and looking so gorgeous. And Beth.
You. Hi.
Hi, Beth. You're in London, Beth.
And Beth's in London. Lucky you, Beth. Not to name drop, but Brooke and I were at Gloria Steinem's apartment.
This is a good name drop, though.
Yeah. Not to name drop. Yeah.
Gloria Steinem.
Gloria as in
Yes,
Steinem. And we were having a conversation about menopause. And I think many people, when they hear the word menopause, they go, ah! Because I think people picture dry vaginas.
Yep.
Or they just picture that
Crusty.
it's an unpleasant, crusty. Or they picture that it's an unpleasant thing. And what I liked, you said, no, we have to reframe how we talk about aging, how we talk, I'm trying to think of a better word for aging, how we talk about getting older. Vitality. And you said that's why Beginning Is Now. And I like the name of that.
Well, it stemmed from this idea that I finally don't feel complicated in my body. I don't feel like I compare myself to other people. I don't feel, if someone doesn't like me, if there's one person, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's their prerogative to not like me. I don't have to convince them and get them over to my side. And
For so long, did you?
I mean,
your whole life?
40 years. I think so, because I was always being compared to other people. I'm in a business that basically tells you you're not enough.
Yeah.
I was at the time. I've lost some height, 6 feet. I was never skinny. And I think that it was always something that I always felt like, oh, I'm not enough, I'm not enough. I finally started feeling enough, got a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
I got kids that don't always hate me every day.
Yeah.
And
you have daughters, too.
I have daughters.
Yeah.
I'm still in a career, I'm still working, I'm here. And I was shocked by how unrepresented I was. You're either 20s and sexy and fabulous, or you're in Depends. And you got dentures. Like,
yes.
There's this vitality in the center.
I like that word, vitality. Yeah.
It's like from 40 on, we start living in our lives, and we're not marketed to. Once your ovaries stop working, you're like, oh, put out to pasture. And I was incensed by that. And so I said, for me, when I think about beginnings and beginning, I feel like it's now.
It's now.
So, I wanted
that.
women to be able to feel that and feel not just permission, because we're not asking for permission, but feeling encouraged to try new things, to say, look how long I've lived and look how much more I have.
I like what you said, too, about after the age of 40, because here I sit here at 67, so I'm 10 years older than you. But just think about this. Walter Cronkite had to retire at 65. He had to retire at 65. And I can't imagine having to give up a job that I love, which he did, at 65, just because of some arbitrary number.
And I think with women, we are given arbitrary numbers and we're given arbitrary sentences that we have to fit into. And I think it's important to change the narrative, change the rhetoric around it.
And let's change it to what? Starting with, I like that you said that you had a birthday recently and you turned 57, because I've seen some women and I'll say, oh, you're having a birthday, how old are you? And they go, that's a personal question. I go, you're kidding. I always find it a little annoying and a little extra, guys, when people say, oh, I don't want to discuss my age. You don't feel that way.
I don't. Maybe it's because my age has always been talked about.
Yeah.
But
and you look good.
Thank you. But
and you look good, Brooke Shields.
It's always work to stay healthy.
Yeah.
It's always work to have vitality. It's always work to stay. A word is always associated with you as authenticity, honesty. You know, you've always stood for that, and you said too that you grew up with manners. You grew up with integrity. You grew up, and that's what we have to teach ourselves about this age as well.
Yeah.
To be honest about it. Yes, it's different. Do I want to be in my 20s? No.
No.
Would I like things a little higher?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. But, that's what comes with
I know.
this
Brooke,
life I've lived.
Brooke, it's my knees. If I can get up and not have an audible, then I feel that I've done something well. I remember when I turned 50, almost immediately. Did this happen to you? You get a subscription to AARP.
Oh, the day after. They have you in a computer and you get that little card.
Yes.
And it's just, it's
so you guys are nodding, And then when I got it, I called them up and I said, could you please take me off the list? Now I feel bad. Now I feel bad about doing that because it's like, I don't want people to know I'm 50. And that's not how I felt, but AARP just sounded old to me, and I think we have to work on changing that as well.
We have to change the whole way we look at things.
You're right.
I mean, my daughters will say, Mom, you want to read the menu? Should I stand across the room? I'm like, no.
No.
I got my readers on.
Yes, I got it.
But I do think that and we, at that lunch, we were talking about it. It was the sort of jumping off point was menopause.
Yes.
And that's a good place to start because it has negativity.
Yes.
But it's about aspirational, what you want to do. What happens, I think it was Gina, we've talked about this too, about being an empty nester. When you drop your kids off, and your daughter got married, or when you have a grandchild, those are turning points that are a new beginning for you, not the beginning of the end.
Yes, exactly. What did Gina say about being an empty nester? What did you say, Gina?
Yeah, so my younger daughter will be leaving for college in the fall. And I'm so proud of her. And my older daughter's been away for 2 years. So, the opportunity now is for me and my husband, to figure out how we live together, closer together in a different relationship, because it's a transition. There are new dynamics now in our household. Whenever my older daughter comes home, it's very active, very engaged, very loud. That's the personality she brings to our home. So we just have to look at this as the new opportunity for us. We've always been very busy people, so I don't have to worry about what I'm making for dinner for the whole family anymore. That's a good thing.
You also have a full-time job.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So you have a full-time job. But I think Gina's raising an interesting point, Brooke, because you're a half empty nester. You've been married for 20 years to Chris. Does your relationship change? Did your relationship change? And how you navigate that? We're
still in the thick of it because now we still have our younger one who's a sophomore. But I will say that she was such an anchor in our family that when we drove away from college, the two of us we almost didn't know what to do with each other because she was the one that really just sort of was the ringleader.
The glue?
Was the glue and the ringleader, and we've had to reintroduce ourselves to each other in a lovely way and not forget the younger one.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's a big piece of it too.
Gina, are you worried about being an empty nester?
No, not at all. I'm not. You know what? I feel my girls, I also have two daughters, I feel they're well prepared to take on their next phase in life. And so I'm excited at the prospect. I see it as opportunity. Maybe I'll try to get back to some things that I've had to push aside because there was no time. Maybe I'll get back to painting, do a little more hiking.
Yeah, and also I think it's important for our daughters in particular to see their mothers in a phase of newness and starting new things. It gives them inspiration that it's not over.
Okay, Wanda, did you have a question? Because I like that you were talking about you're 45, Spanish language coach, founder of Spanish for Black Girls. You were a teacher for many years. So you can relate to when Brooke's talking about new beginnings.
Absolutely, absolutely. My boys are 20 and 22, and I want to travel the world and then teach my clients from all over the place, but I'm scared. So how do you dive into a new beginning like this? Like, what gave you the courage to start what you're doing?
Good question. Were you scared?
I'm scared for this second. Do you know what I mean? I think it's embraced.
See, you guys are scaring Brooke Shields.
Scaring me. Not intimidated, but there's some my glasses are fogging up. There's a beauty in the energy that is associated with fear. And I think that's, if we can harness it, and we were talking about faking it until you make it, and there is something to be said for that, and meaning, you may have to convince yourself, you're never gonna feel completely, fully prepared and ready. You almost have to just jump in,
and
not knowing it, do it, and you'll be surprised. I think that's what I've had to learn from starting my own company. First time I've ever signed at the CEO spot. That's not performer or talent.
Yes.
It was CEO, and someone had to say, no, that's where you sign. And I'm like, what? So this is all new for me. And I am, you're afraid of failing. You're afraid of looking stupid. You're afraid of making mistakes. And I try to surround myself with people who are smart, who are willing to teach me, who I can learn from, and then in fact teach.
And you're willing to learn. Because I wonder what it's like, Brooke, because so many people know you as the iconic Brooke Shields. And I'm not exaggerating when I say Brooke Shields. We still remember the Calvin Klein commercial. Nothing comes between me and my Calvins. That commercial was such a big, oh my God, back then. And now it seems so tame to me.
It seems tame. To me, I look back at, I was such a hard worker. And work ethic was so important to me because it was validation. So in my era, if you worked hard, they liked you. And so to me, I look at that campaign as a lot of hard work. I didn't think of it in terms of controversy or in terms of meaning a double entendre. That's not where my young mind went. It was really smart advertising, and I was a part of something that was really big, you know? But one of the things too is I think it's hard to start something new because we're not taught that it's okay, and we're afraid of failing, and we're afraid of making mistakes. To me, failure and making mistakes are the quickest path to success, because if you can pivot and you can learn from a mistake, God bless you, and that means you're. I mean, every successful person you know has either been fired, tripped and fallen, made mistakes. We've all done it.
But you know, men don't seem to have that issue. They think if they try something that doesn't work, they just try something new. They don't internalize and say, oh, I failed, that didn't work out for me.
Or they say it's someone else's fault.
Or they say it's someone else's fault. They do. They say it's someone else's fault. Cicely, I love your question.
I love Cicely's question too, I have to say.
Yes.
Why is it, and this is so interesting, why are younger men becoming even more attractive to our age?
Yes.
What is it?
To women
I'm like, oh.
Where did that question come from, Cicely? What's happening at your house?
Right. Just my own experiences. Like, I get hit on all the time by younger men, and I don't understand why. You know, I'm like,
look at you.
Because you're beautiful. You know what I mean? It's like it's becoming a thing. You're even noticing it more. You know, you see it more where it's like it's becoming acceptable. But
does it bother you, Cicely? Does it bother you? Because I'm thinking, what is the issue here?
No, but it makes me question, like, is this a path I should go down? Is this really healthy?
I'd say yes. I would say absolutely. Full on, go galloping down that path.
Can I take it serious? Go out.
But I think that they're attracted to experience. I think they're attracted to confidence. I think they're attracted to the self-assurance that I don't think we have when we're younger.
Yeah, I try to say this, Cicely. I actually prefer younger, to be honest with you. But I try to say, but I do believe I don't really want to be involved with someone I could have given birth to. That's sort of my parameter.
I don't want to have to teach too much.
Yes.
I don't want to have to teach
I don't want to teach you something.
Things. I want you to kind of be an old soul.
Yeah, to know what you're doing. I don't want to be a nurse or a purse. Sheba, you found yourself single again before your 50th birthday.
Before my 50th birthday. That was an interesting time. but it also gave me a lot of empowerment at the same time, because everything was going on. I was embracing 50, because I thought I embraced 40, and it was such a great time in my life, and I thought 50 would be just like that. And but at the same time, I was single at the time, and I learned how to deal with all of it. And Cicely, we have to go out.
Yes.
I enjoy dating younger men too, but not that much younger.
I too, well, I've gotten divorced, and when
God, Brooke, I forgot about that, actually.
Yeah, people forget about Tennis Boy.
I did.
They do.
I totally forgot about that.
I found a sense of self through the relationship, and then it didn't fit anymore. And I knew I needed to leave it. And I felt that I feel like we're constantly beginning, always. And that was a beginning for me. And this was before my 40th birthday, actually. I learned a lot about myself in the relationship, and I was able to take that and sort of start over.
Talk about beginning is now.
Yeah.
I love the phrase beginning is now, because it can apply to anything, whether it's your relationship, whether it's your job, whether it's how you feel about yourself, all of those things. I think it's it's a very unique and I think relatable way to adjust whatever's going on in your life. Did you ever have hang-ups about your age, or were you ever concerned about getting older? Did that ever bother you? Think about it.
I probably should have.
I didn't.
I just never thought about it.
Me too.
And I was always where I was. I also didn't rush getting older. You know, I didn't say, oh, when I'm this age, or I can't wait till I'm that. Like my girls, you know, it's all about the fake ID, of course, obviously. Yeah. But they want to rush getting to that next age. And I always say, don't. Just stay within your age and just try to make it as big as possible. I think that's one of the things that we've been discussing is living it's like, I know we've heard the cliche, live your biggest life. Yeah. But I had a therapist tell me, you know, she goes, I don't want you to make yourself small anymore. She said, stop trying to fit in to make people comfortable, or, you know, don't rock the boat, or don't, she was like, rock the boat. Yeah. Learn how to swim.
Yeah, rock the boat.
But, you know, I'm always fall in water.
Hold your nose and jump.
Yep.
Yep. Jennifer, where are you, Jennifer? There you are. You're 37.
Yes.
And the word is, from our sources, that you've been trying to balance your internal biological clock.
Yes.
Also wanting to focus on your career. What do you mean by that?
I am.
What's your internal clock telling you?
Have a baby. You know, it's like I want to have a baby. I wanted to have a baby since I was a little girl. We think about marriage. We think about being pregnant, and I thought by now I would have had like 6 kids, would have been married. But I'm also very career oriented, and I own my own business. I live in New York and also in Dominican Republic. So finding now a partner, I feel like it's become more difficult. Because I'm back and forth, or work is my all. But I want to have a baby, and I'm always like, I'm battle between, do I have a baby with a good friend, or do I wait?
Don't wait.
On God's gift, because I know that it's coming. I know that it's the battle between my human self and my spiritual.
Got it. Did you hear Brooke's question?
Oh, I'm sorry. No.
I'm sorry.
Did I answer a whole different question?
No.
My question went right to your eggs, just because I had to go through IVF 7 times to have my daughter. Wow. Lost my first baby, then had to go through it 6 more times.
But her question was, have you frozen your eggs?
I haven't, but it's something that I started to consider.
I think it's an important thing to consider, just so that you have the option, because at a certain point, the option becomes less, and you don't have the option anymore.
And it takes the pressure off too. Just a question you asked, should I have a baby with a good friend? I mean, I personally don't recommend that unless you and your friend are on the same page about how you want to raise a child. Yes. But I think when you freeze your eggs, my favorite daughter Kirby, who just recently had a baby, but froze her eggs when she's now 36, about 4 years ago. Okay. Just because she wasn't in a relationship really at the time, and you want to take the pressure off of, I got to meet somebody, I have to, before it gets too old. At least if you have eggs, you know that you always have that option.
Yes.
And hopefully you'll be able to carry the baby, but if you can't, there's also surrogacy, but it is your egg.
And
So I would do
that's,
that.
I think that the whole theme too about just this conversation is putting yourself in a position to have options.
Yes.
Creating
There you
options
go.
for yourself. Like
Yes.
that's empowering. And that's what we're talking about.
Really good
here.
point.
You're not a victim to an age, a time, a place, a relationship. You at least put yourself in the best possible position for different options.
Thank you.
And
Thank you. Especially I refuse to settle.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I want all my options.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that that's a very, you know, as women, we're told we don't have options. You know, that's the message that's surrounding what we're how we're spoken to.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have options. I told my daughter when she went to college, I'm like, okay, you got a boyfriend now. Just give me one. Just give me one. I'll raise it.
Are you ready to have grandchildren?
I could.
Really?
Yeah, because I can't have any more of my own, and I want to still be able. I want to know them, but also I think not wanting to have children is also something that needs to be owned, discussed.
Really good point.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
with
Not
it.
everybody should have children. You know, I've known since I could breathe that I wanted to have children.
Yes.
But that was in my DNA. And I think that's
such a good point, though, Brooke. That's such a good point that if you don't want to have children, that's okay. When I was, 51, 52, I called Oprah, who doesn't have children, and I said, Oprah, I just met this woman. She came into the offices at Oprah Daily. Maybe she was 52, 53. I said, she's 52, she's never been married, and she has no children. There's dead silence on the phone, and Oprah goes, and? I said, oh, yeah, that's right.
Wait a minute.
You're 53, you've never been married, you don't have children. But in that moment, it struck me, because I just think, oh, my God, who wouldn't want a child? And I realized that not everybody wants children.
Yeah,
that's why it's so
my
good you
house
said
for
that.
an afternoon of drama. Beth, you're 55, right?
Yeah, I am.
And you brought up a really interesting question about feeling younger than your biological age.
That's me too.
I really do. I have to remind myself.
Yes.
And then when yesterday when I said 57, or in May when I said 57, I was shocked at how old that sounded. When it's not how I don't even see 57 when I look in the mirror.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of work done. No, just kidding. But I think that it really is, yes, my knees are killing me.
Yeah.
I have to get another one replaced. I broke my femur. Like, my body, I can't see, you know, but that's not how old I feel.
Yes.
That's just
You said you feel 40-something?
I feel about 42. I've sort of
42.
stopped at 42. I was 38 in my mind.
Yes.
And body I felt, and now I'm a little bit older.
Yes.
I'm about 42.
Yes.
Do you feel the same way, Beth, or do you?
It's funny right now because people ask me, how old is your son? And I'll say, he's 19 or 20. He's 23. I can't even like absorb how old my son is. So I can't even answer that question with wait, what age is my son? I don't even know how old I am anymore. So I think I also stopped thinking about it. I'm just like, I am who I am.
Yes.
I think, and that's the nicest feeling about where I am. I'm not sure if I want to define myself as 40, 45, 50, 55. I'm not ready to go beyond that right now, but I just like being who I am. Yeah. And I'm not sure if there's an age that defines that.
Oh, that's the best way to say well that. Said. Yes.
But also, I think that brings up, I joke about, doctors or plastic surgery. I also think we need to change that conversation a bit, because I think it's become an epidemic with young people, and they say it's preventative or whatever. I'm not against wanting to do what you feel comfortable with to improve how you feel about yourself. And if that means something. You mean by
plastic surgery?
Plastic surgery or whatever. I mean, I work out, I go to the gym. I don't want to change my face because I'm attached to what it looks like. But I'll do peels and and I don't want to feel bad about that either. You know, I don't want to fill my lips and change the shape of my face, but I also feel like that's part of the conversation too that needs to be altered a little bit. Because why not? I've seen it revolutionize how people feel about themselves. My mom got a facelift when she was 40 or 39, I think. Now, when she was 78, she looked 60. I mean,
I'm not mad at that.
I'm not mad at that. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think that that's kind of important too, because we're shamed into, you know, it's not that we want to be younger. We just want to be the best that we can in this body. And yeah, things are a little,
because it's the only body we got for now.
Lower.
But I want to close with this, Brooke, because you've said this and I love this. You've talked about wanting to look good is not synonymous with wanting to look young. So close with that. What do you mean by that? I like the sentiment of that.
I think it's chasing age, going backwards, going back to thinking, oh, that's when I was at my prime. That's when I was good. That's when, and I think that it's about youthfulness, vitality, and I don't want to be in my 20s. I don't want to be that person. I want all this experience that I have, and all the heartache and the pain
and all that comes with that.
All that comes with it has made me, I think of it as like brush strokes on a really in-depth painting. You know, it's like each one of those experiences makes me feel more vibrant when I walk into a room. And I like vibrancy and vitality, not just youth.
Yeah, I love this word vitality. I love this word, and vibrancy. 2 V words, I like that.
Oh, the V word.
Yeah,
we like the V words.
Yeah, I do. Thank you, Brooke. Thank you guys for joining us this afternoon. We really appreciate it. That you took the time from all around the country.
Great conversation. Great.
I enjoyed it too. Tell everybody that they can find Beginning Is Now, the community.
Thank you. Beth, I've got a 19-year-old. She has a boyfriend.
Bye, guys.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, you guys. I'm here. It's Beyonce.